Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to do a really quick first impressions of this bag that I have been absolutely loving, and it is my latest bag. It is none other than the Bottega Veneta Andiamo Tote, and this is in the color sage. Well, in my mind I call it sage green, but I believe the actual name of this color is called aloe, as in aloe vera, and I can totally see why. The color is actually in this sort of bluish muted green, and it leans definitely as a cool green color, which really suits my summer palette. And I do feel like this color is between a pop of color and also a neutral. So I feel like this bag, this color definitely doubles up very nicely in any wardrobe, whether it's casual or corporate. It is actually a very understated and elegant bag. Now, I know that the Bottega Veneta Andiamo tote is actually part of the quiet luxury movement, and while I do not claim to participate in that in the least at all, I actually have been loving this bag from afar for more than a year now. And those of you who follow me on Instagram will know that this bag is on my lust list and has been on my lust list for more than a year. And I definitely wanted the medium size because I have quite a few bags in the small size category, but I actually need a daily mom bag for my daily essentials. I actually pack quite a bit. I pack a water bottle, an umbrella, a sweater, a shawl, a book, on top of my kids' snacks when I go out with them. And yeah, this is definitely a bag that fulfills all those needs. And I have actually taken out a few of the bags that meet this criteria. First and foremost, it is the Neo Noe bag from Louis Vuitton, and this is in the Emprunt leather in the bi-color version. And this is the dove gray version with the cream. I absolutely have been loving this bag because it is a workhorse of a bag. Before that, I have been using the Neverfull MM, not this particular piece. This is practically brand new. I've not taken it out in the midst of the pandemic. Maybe coming out of the pandemic, I bought it because I thought that I should have it in reserve, but I've actually been using the By the Pool version and the giant monogram version of the Neverfull MM a lot more than that bag because those are more interesting and more unique. But anyway, I am definitely a Neverfull MM girly. I have been using Neverfull MMs as my first luxury bag. My very first one from Louis Vuitton, from any luxury brand at all, was a Neverfull MM, and that was in this size in the Damier Azur. And I cannot stress how useful the Neverfull has been in my life. But that said, I actually use my Birkin 30, this color and the one in the Blue Paradise, quite often because it's also a good mom bag if I want to be a bit more posh. It does definitely suit my needs. I can put quite a bit of things in it. I usually have a water bottle, a book, and a shawl on top of my daily essentials, and I put that in the Birkin 30. You can see that between these options, they are all pretty loud luxury, and there's some cases where I go for a school meeting or if I go to church, I don't really want to scream loud luxury in these settings. And so I definitely did feel like there was a gap in my daily wardrobe essentials, and that gap was for a medium size daily bag, something that was quite under the radar and quiet. And because of Hermes, my love for leather has just exponentially increased. I used to be a canvas monogram girl, and now I have definitely pivoted over to luscious, delicious, luxurious leather, and Loewe definitely fits the bill, and also definitely Hermes. If any of you have seen the unboxing video of this bag, you would be somewhat underwhelmed by that video, and that is because I was quite thrown off by the way it was packaged. So I bought this bag from Cettire. I've been stalking that website for this bag for more than a year. And yeah, it's actually quite nice to put a rest to that daily stalking because that's one thing that I don't do on a daily basis anymore. And I'm glad that I pulled the trigger finally at a good price. The packaging that this bag came in was kind of awful. Like, it just came in a dust bag, the Bottega Veneta dust bag, and on top of that it came with a protective plastic over it. It was in a brand new condition. I inspected the bag after making that video. I poured over it, and I couldn't find any defects, especially on the corners that was where I was most concerned with. But yeah, it came not stuffed at all, and the front part was kind of sunken in and smooshed inwards into a box that fit the size of this bag exactly. So I was a bit alarmed, but given the price that I paid for it, that includes the shipping and the taxes, everything all in, and that is an amazing price for this bag. And right now, this bag retails for 7,200 Sing dollars. I'll put the US dollar equivalent on the screen. And I want to say that I have been to the boutique to check this out a few times in person, and every time I look at it, I think, wow, this is an amazing bag, but I'm not sure I want to pull the trigger on it at $7,200. Okay, I was actually looking at this bag when it was in the 6,600 region, and even back then, I did feel like it was a bit too high a price to stomach. But it is Bottega Veneta, and I haven't actually had a Bottega Veneta bag in my whole collection. This is my very first. And since it's going to be a daily beater bag, I thought $4,500 is actually a palatable price. Considering the inflation of luxury goods these days, this is actually, I would say, a good value. So anyway, let's go back to the review and the first impressions. So I first off want to talk about weight, because I am a person who packs a lot in my bags. I am very conscious of weight. A lot of neck and shoulder aches every now and then, and weight definitely matters. So very quickly, I just want to rattle off some numbers. I did calculate the weights of my bags as comparison. I weighed it on, those luggage weighing kind of devices. I weighed it just before I sat down to film this video. And so the Andiamo tote, it comes up to 0.84 kg, and that's 840 grams. It's not too heavy, but it's not that light either. My first impression of the bag was that it seemed a lot lighter than, when I'm staring at it, it does look heavy when it's in the 840 gram range. But yeah, my first impression was that it did not feel like that kind of weight. Maybe because it is quite a large surface area and it's quite supple and soft. So when I actually do wear it, I wear it on my shoulder, and I honestly can barely feel the weight when I wear it on my shoulder like this, because it kind of lays very flat. It kind of molds to the body very well. So I do feel like the distribution does help quite a bit, as opposed to this bag. And my initial impression of my Neo-Noe in the Empron leather is that it was a lot heavier, and I do think it's because it sticks out more from, I'm just going to lift myself up a bit more. Okay, so I do think that the Empron sticks out more from your body, and it is a very much more structured leather. So maybe it doesn't lay across my body and my hips as much as the tote does. So I do feel like, in my very first impression was that this bag is actually lighter than this bag, but it isn't, because the Neo-Noe is, in the Empron leather, it is 750 grams, that's 0.75 kg. So I weighed that without the bag organizer in my Neo-Noe, and when I put this thick felt organizer inside and I use it that way, I never use it without it, the weight actually becomes quite comparable. It's actually exactly the same, and I was quite shocked to see this, that my Neo-Noe with the organizer is the same weight. It is at 0.84 kg, which is 840 grams. So the two of them are exactly equivalent in weight, but somehow the Bottega Veneta feels a lot lighter. I don't actually intend to use this bag with a bag organizer. I like the slouchy aesthetic of it. I like the very casual everyday wear. I usually dress like this. I wear this with a pair of denim shorts. I live in a tropical country, so this actually fits my daily life and my daily style. Sometimes I wear a t-shirt. I am a very, very casual when I'm out and about running my mom duties. And so this is actually perfect for my daily life. I'm back to the squishiness of when I first received this bag. So when I first received it in the Cettire box, it was kind of mushed up in the front. And what happened was that there is this inner flap inside here. So this inner divider can be removed. I wouldn't recommend removing it because it actually is quite useful, and it has a substantial zip compartment where I put my car keys and my phone and my wallet, so that it's quite safely tucked in there. So I switched positions. This flap was on this side where the leather was straight and it was lying flat on the box. And I switched it over to this side. This side was where the leather was collapsed inwards when it was packed inside the box. And lo and behold, because I have pressed it against this way, I've been using this bag for about a week now, every day. And I can say that warp, or that kind of inward smooshy, my English is failing me right now. The way it's smooshed inwards, it's not at all very obvious anymore. It is quite evened out and balanced right now. You can see that it is very nicely flat. And I do feel like with time and use, this is definitely going to start collapsing into itself unless you constantly pad it with things. But this is the kind of bag. I do think that Bottega Veneta bags are the kind of bags that you just have to embrace the slouch over time, because that is the beauty of the leather they use. Speaking of leather, the other thing that I was really floored by was just discovering that this bag is indeed in lambskin leather. I thought it was a Napa calfskin leather, but it's not. It's actually fully lambskin on the outside and the weaving. And because of the weave, each layer is actually 2 times the leather used to weave in and out of. And that gives it its signature look. And that definitely adds to inflating the price to what it is right now. The smell is divine. So I also forgot to do the smell when I did the unboxing, and I feel like I let this bag down because I have definitely fallen in love with this bag. It has a very distinct leather smell. It's nowhere the same as LV or Hermes or Loewe. I believe each fashion house has their own leather smell. The very tangible enjoyment of the bag is in the very quality of the leather that you get from Bottega Veneta. And I think that I've become a Bottega Veneta fangirl because of the leather. It's just absolutely amazing. So yes, just quickly back to the weight of the bags again. So this one is 840 grams. This one was 750 grams, 840 grams with the bag organizer. And lastly, I just want to mention here, honorable mention to the Neverfull MM, and that is 540 grams, 0.54 kg without an organizer. I do have a pretty substantial felt organizer. That Neverfull MM with the organizer, it comes up to a whopping 710 grams, which is 0.71 kg. And that makes it quite equivalent to the Neo Noe without the organizer. And lastly, I just want to bring in my Birkin 30 in the Togo leather. And this bag is a whopping 0.94 kg, which is 940 grams without an organizer. So this is the heaviest of all my medium-sized bags. And what can I say? It's worth it. It's worth the wait. Okay, it's a Birkin. This is lambskin leather, and also the woven handles of this is also lambskin leather. It makes me pause for concern that because I am always sliding this in and out of the rings, I worry that the wear and tear of sliding it in and out this metal grommets will actually cause the lambskin to scrape off and fray over the years. And yes, I do intend to use this bag for years. The other thing is that this is the regular design, so it doesn't come with the chains, or the grommets are not expressed in a shiny hardware, brass hardware. This is actually, I believe, brass, but it is also powder coated in the same color, exactly the same color to match the color of the leather. And I find it amazing how they managed to do that. So Yes, it is metal. It's kind of shiny on the inside. So I think on the chain version, you can see this metal grommets being shinier on the outside. But this is a very understated look, and it's a lot more casual and minimal. And I definitely think that this is exactly what I need right now in my life. I do think that one of the cons, apart from the abrasion of the leather straps through the grommets, would be the fact that these leather straps are pretty sturdy. Can you hear that? It's quite a squeaky bag. I don't mind the squeakiness. But yes, it makes it easy and comfortable. It's extremely comfortable on the shoulder because it's lambskin. So even though it's sturdy and thick, it doesn't cut into your shoulders at all, unlike the Neverfull. It's actually very, very pliable and soft. But because it has a certain thickness, it's kind of messy. Like when I put the bag down, I put it on a table, and I try not to put it on a table because it's rather large. This is how it lays. These straps have a life of their own. Yep. They're not they're not extremely soft. So they're a bit messy when you leave it to sit somewhere. And it is a bit of a hassle to have to tuck it inside. And on top of that, because this is a medium bag, and I knew this going in, this is the main outlook of the bag. This is how the bag is being presented and sold. But in my case, I would never ever wear this bag as a crossbody bag. Like I would never do this unless I was in an absolute pinch. I mean, it looks nice. It looks nice as a crossbody bag still. It still works, but I would never carry this kind of size like that on my daily basis. So it doesn't present this image of the bag. I am always carrying this bag on my shoulder like this, which also means that the only way to really fasten the bag is to carry it crossbody, because the weight distribution when you carry it this way makes it automatically want to shut in this manner. And that's how you, I guess, securely fasten your bag in the smaller size. But I'll never use it that way. So, I live in a safe country. That's not a concern for me, but it might be a concern for you if you're living in a country where you're concerned with pickpockets. This to and fro pulley system with the bags is that, yes, it makes it very comfortable, but because I'm very used to tote bags, and this is where I have to demonstrate it with my Louis Vuitton tote. So I've been trained and conditioned to carry a tote where the straps are fastened securely on each side. So when I want to take an item out, it's very easy for me to let it open, do this, pick out the stuff, and put it back. Easy, right? But I can't do that with this bag. If you can see the weight and the way it is being distributed, oh god, my hair's a mess. So anyway, if you see the way the weight is being distributed, when I open to take something out, boop, it's going to kind of want it to fall lower in, especially when I pack my bag with heavy things. It's going to want to fall down, and then it would kind of like clamp it shut just by virtue of the gravity of the bag. So I'll have to use two hands to open it like that, hold it, grab this open it this way, and then go in and grab the bag. So it is a little bit more fussy, and it does take a while to get used to this way of getting in and out of your bag as you're going about your errands. I'm sure you can get stuff out this way, but it's definitely something to get used to if you're used to the regular tote design where you can just open it that way and you don't have to worry. Like the weight will just transfer to this shoulder. It keeps it at the same height, and then you can easily grab your things in and out. Yeah, that's not going to happen for this bag. The last con that I can think of is the wear and tear of the corners. So this is giving me Chanel Coco handle PTSD, because they also have the same way of finishing the corners of the leather, and it has this pointed way of folding the leather inwards. And I always feel alarmed when I see bags constructed in this manner, because that is where the bag is going to take the most wear and tear, in these sharp corners. without any protection at all. For a lambskin leather bag, I'm just going to see how the wear and tear comes along. And I also want to mention that because this bag is a leather trim, it's a leather bag and it has folds, I do think that the glazing over time might wear out really quickly, especially where the folds are there's this very acute bend to the fold on these corners. So it's my first time having a Bottega Veneta bag. I am just going to see how these things wear over time. Don't see that being a problem on the handle. It seems quite all right. Seems to keep the shape quite constant. There's not a lot of dynamic movement. I do feel like the folds on these might suffer the most, and there is going to be a little bit of waviness on the corners with age and use, because in the beginning it's pretty straight, but as you get in and out, like in this case, you're going to see this kind of stretch to the leather, and then it's going to get a little bit wavy on the edges, and I am fine with that. The hardware on this bag is extremely substantial, like this little knot bit. It's very beautiful, and it is also where the Bottega Veneta branding is. It's the only part of the bag that I see on the outside with any sort of branding, and it is very subtly engraved in here, Bottega Veneta. It's a very hefty gold piece, and yes, I've noticed that Bottega Veneta has very substantial hardware. They tend to be very heavy, just like in the padded cassette with the chain. Oh my god, that bag was really heavy. And this is how you get in and out of it. You kind of push it inwards, like a bit like a carabiner. If those of you who do rock climbing, I'm sure you know that. It goes in that way, and then you take this piece out, and that's how you detach it, and then that's how you remove these parts to actually get to the inner flap if you want to change the position of the inner flap. And then you put it back in like so, push it inwards, and then close it that way. It is very secure, very much like how a carabiner works. So the other part that you will see branding in is the embossing. It's basically stamped inside. It's a blind emboss, so there's no foil, and it is over here. I don't know if you can see it. It says Bottega Veneta, made in Italy. It comes with two little slip pockets. It is actually useful in helping to keep the bag upright. The last function I haven't mentioned is this magnetic closure. I think it's nice to have, but it's not like the most important thing, because when I stuff this bag full, it is very substantial. I hardly managed to get the magnetic clasp to catch with each other. And on top of that, if the leather piece is in the center, it kind of interferes with the closing of the magnetic closing. Okay, I can still feel the magnet through the center portion. It does go through, but it's not as strong. So, that's one of the details here. So I usually like to keep it that way. So it's a stronger magnetic closure. Those are the things to keep in mind for a medium Andiamo tote, at least for first impressions. I absolutely think that on a daily basis, this enhances your look and your enjoyment. It's just in these small things, when I am just like touching the bag, when I'm sniffing it and I'm putting it on my lap. It is a very cozy bag. I really love using this bag, so I cannot recommend it enough. I definitely feel like this bag is worth it if you can get a deal on Cettire. Yeah, actually, I can imagine this being worth it, buying it direct from boutique and having a much more luxurious experience, unboxing it and coming with all the packaging, having the store experience. I do feel like that also counts for something. So I highly recommend this bag. Just be aware of all the cons that I've mentioned. For now, I do feel like there's not a lot of information out there on the Bottega Veneta Andiamo tote. It is definitely a bag that I feel has been trending, but not like a hyped up kind of trending. I don't think it's a hype bag at all. I do see a lot of longevity for this bag. So yeah, I do feel like this one is here to stay because it is so subdued and understated in its outlook. It is one that I can feel myself growing old with, and it's definitely one that ages well because just simply because of the quality of leather being used. So that's it for today's video. I hope this isn't too long, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. And until the next video, I hope you guys take care and have a great week ahead. Bye!